Let's talk books. But let me paint you a picture first. You're in France. The land is unbothered by modern day architecture. There's an old yew tree that is in on the edge of the town, on the edge of the village. There's an old lady that lives in a house who doesn't adhere to the Christian values of 1600s France. She's a bit of a free spirit. And you're 16, 17 years old, and you're a free spirit yourself. But she always tells you, never pray to the gods that answer after the dark, after the sun goes down. So let's, let's imagine that you're a girl named Adeline Larue. She is a free spirit. She loves art. She loves going into this other town with her father. But then something is thrust upon her that she doesn't like. So what does she do? She goes and prays to a god. It's after dark. The sun's gone down. And the only time a god answers after dark, it comes with a price. A deal is made, and Adeline Larue is given basically the freedom to be who she wants to be. But there's a price. Nobody will remember who she is. That is the story of the invisible life of Addie Larue. Reading this book, I went into it blind. Well, not really blind. I had the idea that it was a very popular book on Book Talk. So it was. Well, I had high expectations. I was aware that Schwab is a very good author. I haven't read anything by her, but I was hopeful, and I want to say the first like 50 to 100 pages were slow. Not slow as in unbearably slow, but slow in the sense of that I know she was really taking her time to get the stage, set the stage, and I wanted to stick with it because I was I had a brief thought of DNFing it around the 50 to 75 page mark, but I wanted to stick with it, wanted to see where it would lead, and once we got past the initial parts of the book, I actually loved it so much. There was a lot of heart into it. Reed Schwab is very poetic with the way she writes, and I just couldn't help but fall in love with the story. Addie Larue is a very likable character. Her love for art, her love for anything artistic, creative, and you know, there's a point in the book where she starts to fall for someone, and then there's a specific part of the book that, for all the time she's lived, it's kind of she learns something new, and if that's entirely that's impossible in my mind, but you never know who will open your eyes to something that's you know something that you never knew, but only possible learn like you only see that from the lens of someone else, and I think that's beautiful. And there was a line said in this book that I feel like that encapsulates the meaning of this book, the message of this book, the overall theme of this book, and its ideas are wilder than memories. About that for a second. Ideas that are wilder than memories. That means that you can meet someone, or someone can meet you, and if you don't remember everything about them, you remember what they represented. You remember what they stood for, and you remember the feeling you had when every moment spent with them was when you felt truly alive, when life itself was worth living. People come and go, and they don't really stick around for however long that you wish they would. But what they taught you, what they represented, what they represented in your life, everything that you love dear can be traced back to someone that maybe you spent a week with, maybe you spent a year with, maybe 10 years. And that to me is what this book is all about. It's all about this idea of someone that can be stronger than just the memory of them. And that is why I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was, to me, the perfect book in a slow burn way, and V.E. Schwab is probably one of the best authors that I've ever read, either my time on Book Talk or just in general. I truly am going to be a fan of hers until she stops writing. And honestly, this book itself is probably going to be one of my favorite books to ever read. Thank you for watching this review. I know it was a little long, but hopefully you stuck around and maybe you'll stick around some more. Peace.